The Black Widow. Marvel's The Black Widow. Marvel's Disney Plus's The Black Widow. They're black. They are back. And I'm digging it. I was wondering, after such a layoff of Marvel movies, of superhero movies, really, and of such big expectation, because they kept putting it back, putting it back, and putting it back, would it actually live up to any of the expectations? And yeah, it did. It was good. It was real good. In fact, it was so good that I watched it like 3 times already. I'm probably going to watch it again tonight. Don't get me wrong. It is not the best superhero movie or even the best Marvel superhero movie, but it's pretty doggone good. Scarlett Johansson plays, of course, the lead character, and it's in between the times of when the Avengers break up and when she passes, she dies. There's an interesting connection between her and her sister, Yelena. One thing I want to point out, one thing right off the top, I had heard that this movie was going to be the origin of mutants. And there is a mutant in the movie. It's one of those, if you don't know, you didn't know. But there is a mutant in the movie. And his name is Ursa. And Ursa as in Ursa Major, which was his superhero name. He's a mutant who can transform into a gigantic bear. And he's a big dude in the movie. And he doesn't do any superhero stuff, and he doesn't transform into like a werebear or anything. But they do say, oh, look at the big bear, as a hint that he is a guy. They didn't really touch on him that much, and they didn't talk about his connection with the Soviet super soldier team. But that was cool. It was still a good movie. There was a lot of stuff that they could have put on their plate that they didn't. It might have been too much, but it was good. So the premise, I'm not going to give you the full thing because it's just coming out. I don't want to give too many spoilers. But the premise is something happens and Natasha has to go back to Mother Moscow and everything. And she hooks up with some people she used to know before the Avengers. One of them is a quasi-love interest. They didn't really go too far on that either, but you could tell that it was a one-sided kind of a love affair type deal. She goes back to Russia. She gets involved in a few things that brings her back to Budapest. And depending on who you are, you may say Budapest or you may say Budapest. There's a little bit of cat and mouse in there with the word. It's Budapest. No, it's Budapest. Budapest? Budapest. No, it's Budapest. They keep going back and forth. Interesting. I've always said Budapest, so, I mean, whatever. I guess people who actually live there would know the difference. But she has to go back there, and in this movie, they relive how she became the Black Widow, and they also are going to let you know about what happened in Budapest with her and Clint Barton. It makes sense now. It makes sense. And he's right. I don't know how Shatari Invasion reminded her of that, but aside from them working together, but Budapest is brought up and they give an explanation why they keep saying, reminds me of Budapest. So Budapest. So there's that. She gets involved in a few things. She gets reunited with her family, and in comes Taskmaster, who I was really, really excited about. He's one of my favorite villains from the Marvel Universe. he has the ability to mimic anything he sees. So if you are an acrobat, he can watch you. That's all he's got to do is just watch you. Now he can mimic your ability, your acrobatic ability. If you are an Olympic swimmer, if you're a martial artist, a boxer, if you're Captain America, the Black Panther, Spider-Man, he can mimic the fighting styles of anyone, and he can second guess them when he's fighting you. So if he's mimicked Daredevil and he's fighting Daredevil, he not only knows all of Daredevil's moves, plus 24 other people, but he also knows how to counter them because he knows what you're going to do. Because he's basically in your head, man. And so he's ridiculously difficult to beat in a one-on-one fight. So there's that. But they had a chance of making Taskmaster a really comic book accurate guy, and they swerved from it. Usually I don't mind if they swerve from it and do different things, deviations, artistic license. But I dug that guy. He was one of my favorite villains, man. And they made tweaks, and I don't think I like the tweaks that much. But I also don't run a multi-billion-dollar company, so you do you, Marvel. So she meets Taskmaster like early on in the movie. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the movie is over with because there's no way she's getting past him. But through trickery and guile, because you can't really fight him. So she makes it past him, and then she has the rest of her adventures. Like I said, she reunites with her family. There's a lot of action in this movie. I was expecting, somebody to bust through that door. We all saw the trailer where someone bust through the door, and it's pretty much who you expected it to be. There was no big surprise. I was expecting a lot of mentioned villains or heroes in the movie. Not so much. But it was still solid. There were tweaks, I think, done to the movie, and that's probably for upcoming movies. There's a few more of them coming soon. So, yeah, this movie. Stick around. If you go to the theater, don't leave your seat. If you're watching it at home, don't hit that button. There is a mid-credit scene. There is an Easter egg. There's only one, but it gives you an idea of what the future may bring. So I like it. I want to say something, but I don't want to spoil it. I may do another review in a few days because there's something I want to say about the ending, but I don't want to give anything away. So I'm just going to say this. Enjoy the movie. It was a good movie. Solid Marvel movie. I dug it a lot, and I would give Black Widow eight bags of popcorn. Wasn't perfect, but it was really good. Really good. I saw it at home. If I'd have gone to the theater and there was a bunch of people screaming and yelling and throwing popcorn in the air, that adds to it, really. But even sitting at home, just chilling out and sitting in the house by myself with a little bag of popcorn, a little soda pop, flipping the channels, still an 8. So take that for what it's worth. But that's what I think. More importantly, what do you think? Now that you've seen the video, let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like this video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.